Welcome to 30-minute reviews. I'm Adam,
And I'm Josie.
looking intently at a thing of yogurt.
It's not yogurt. It's kefir.
Okay.
I don't know what
This
kefir is,
you're reading it like it's the last will and testament of a loved one.
but it feels like it's just like a real thick yogurt drink.
Hmm. So like an
I'm not
Activia,
super into it.
or like
I've never had Activia.
well, I mean it's the thing that Jamie Lee Curtis goes on TV and is like, I
Like a
can poop great
Danimals.
now. Okay, yes, that also the same thing. Okay. Um, so we have a
Yeah, it
pretty
is
good
supposed to
show.
help you poop. It has 12 probiotic strains in it.
Yeah, that's that one. Jamie Lee Curtis is always on TV. Like, I can poop great now. Look at this.
I hope
Um,
this helps me poop great now. Look at this.
um, today we have a lot to discuss. Well, not a lot. It seems like a lot. So first and foremost, I wanted to get your opinion on something. So, do you remember how we did the MCU Phase 4 in review episode?
Oh.
This is like 2 months ago. Are you kidding? This is a joke, or this like
I mean, probably tell me what we talked about.
we went through all the movies in Phase 4 of the MCU and we ranked them, and then we put the points together to see what was number one, number two.
Oh yeah, that was neat.
Yeah. I had an idea. So this week, James Gunn came out and announced the upcoming release slate for DC films. And we're not going to get into it because it's a long conversation. I already did a half hour on it earlier this week. Or last week, because at this point we're recording this on Saturday. I did it on Tuesday, where we talk about the entire release slate. It looks like that's not enjoyable in the slightest. 'Cause every time you drink it, you look like someone shoved a dirty sock in your nose.
I'm trying
Um,
to decide whether or not I like it. I like,
I can look at you and tell you the answer,
and I'm trying, but I'm also trying to figure out, okay, so maybe I don't really like it, but is it worth it to just eat it instead so that way I poop good?
but like at that point, why not just get a yogurt that tastes good?
I think I might not like yogurt anymore.
Oh, that's the discovery. Okay, that's a different
Yes.
conversation.
Yes.
Um,
hmm And I
so
didn't think it would be a yogurt when I thought it might be like a shake.
oh, okay, all right,
I
that's
didn't know what
understandable then.
kefir was.
Typically, if I don't know what it is, I don't buy it.
I just went, yeah, probiotics. Heck yeah. I need
Just
to
get a
poop good.
pill. Just get a pill. You can get a pill and it does the same
I
thing.
do. I do
Uh,
that too. We don't need to talk about my gut problems
No,
today,
okay.
okay? There's
Because you're
too
sitting here,
it would take too long.
it's so distracting. Like I look up and you're just like every time you drink it, and I'm like
Well,
he will have a
it's
less abrasive reaction to drinking cyanide.
I don't think that's true.
Well, there's no taste of cyanide, so
Yeah.
so anyway, back on topic. Um so with this week, Gunn and Peter Safran came out and announced the first slate of DC films. So there's a Superman movie coming called Superman Legacy. There's a Batman movie coming called The Brave and the Bold with Damian Wayne. There's an Authority movie. There is a Creature Commandos TV show and Amanda Waller TV show. They have a bunch of stuff coming. But this signifies the end of the DCEU,
Okay.
which is all the DC movies that have come out between Man of Steel and what will be the end of it will be Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. And it's really funny if you watch the video. Because number one, I've never heard James Gunn talk, and I did not think that's what his voice would sound like. Um, so that was the first jarring thing.
Hmm.
But number two, um, I'm watching this thing, and you can like he's like, and this year we have Shazam coming, and Shazam: Fury of the Gods comes out in March. And then we have The Flash, and I'm really excited about The Flash. The Flash is great, like all of these great things about The Flash. And then we have Blue Beetle, and this is gonna be really cool, and this is happening, and this is gonna be in the movie, and this is gonna be cool. And then we have Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom coming out in December. And it's like, so two of these movies aren't gonna be great, and two
Hmm.
of them are gonna be good. Um, so those will be the end of the DC EU as we know it. So the full list of DC EU movies, I have a list of them here. Um, where is it? I have my microphone in the middle of my screen here. It is DC EU ranking. So Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, Suicide Squad, Wonder Woman, Justice League the Theatrical, Aquaman, Shazam, Birds of Prey, Wonder Woman 1984, the Snyder Cut, the Suicide Squad, Black Adam, and the show Peacemaker is the full list of everything that they've done in the DCEU banner. Plus this year's Shazam Fury of the Gods, Blue Beetle, The Flash, and Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Um,
Okay.
so what I wanted to voice to you is that at some point in the future, not right now, do we want to do a ranking the way we did Marvel Phase 4? Well, let's start with the first question. Have you seen most of these things?
No.
Have you seen Man of Steel,
Yes.
Batman vs Superman,
Yes.
the 2016 Suicide Squad,
Yeah.
Wonder Woman?
I think I've actually seen all of them.
Okay.
I'm
Um,
sorry.
so do
I
you
just
want
didn't know. You said, have you seen them all? I don't know.
so
I don't know what's in that.
just like what's in your yogurt, you don't know what's
Yeah.
in that either. So yes,
Probiotics.
well, yeah. So I will like it's in the drive, in the Google Drive is the list of all of the DCEU movies. So if you want to do that, we can do that, ranking the DCEU entries the same way we did Phase 4, where we rank it and then we put in and then we do it that way. I'm gonna ask
Okay.
Peter too. I have him on the I don't think he's on the drive, but he is on the spreadsheet. So just go onto the drive link that you have and then go into the one that says DCEU ranking. You can see the full list of
Oh,
everything on there.
okay.
That
Sure.
was for Josie, not for anyone who's listening. Because as usual, we don't plan things before the show; we plan them on the show.
Yeah.
Um, so yes, that was something that we could be
That's how
doing in
the
the
real
future.
pros do it, right?
Yeah. In the immortal words of Bill O'Reilly, "Fuck it, we'll do it live." Um,
I don't know who that is.
okay, that's probably for the best. Like it's like that reminds me of on Parks and Rec where it's like I got in the immortal words of Ron Blagojevich, I got a job and that shit ain't cheap. Um,
Okay.
it's a corruption joke from the late 2000s. Anyway, um, he was a governor who was making people pay to work for him. Um, so the topic of conversation before we get into Black Panther Wakanda Forever that I wanted to discuss with you is VR and virtual reality gaming. Have you ever tried Oculus
I've not
or
tried any sort of
MetaQuest?
VR, but I'm
See,
really interested in it and I totally want to. So if we could make that happen, that'd be pretty great.
well, I
I'm
don't know if
kidding.
I don't have that kind of pull. Um, like
I'm
this
just
week,
kidding.
Nintendo just gave me credentials to be able to use their press site to download pictures. I don't think we're quite at the point where I can persuade Sony to give me a PSVR too.
The
Um,
ultimate goal of the podcast to get Megan to be able
just
to try
just get
VR.
free shit. Um, I will say this. That has been the ultimate fringe benefit of Beware of Spoilers, has
Hmm.
been being able to see shit early. Um, so like this week, I'll just bleep this out, but I'm getting early next week,
Ooh, that's pretty
I'm
cool.
getting that early in the week so I can have it done by the release date. Um, and I got to see Moon Knight early last year. Um,
Oh,
so like that's been the ultimate fringe benefit has been getting to see shit early. Um, but either way, the point is
have you tried
VR.
any sort of VR?
I haven't, not for any reason besides I'm poor.
I've been to,
Um,
yeah, same.
um,
I would do it in a heartbeat, but
yeah, exactly.
money.
Yeah,
Uh,
they're expensive, the rigs.
yes.
And I think the problem is too, the games that I've seen, some of them don't grab me. Like if I'm gonna drop $500 on a new console, like when I bought my PS5, I was like, okay, I will play games on this because there are going to be games that speak to me and maybe want, and I will want to play them on this console. Um, when I don't see that for VR. And I think that's
Oh,
kind of part of the problem.
and probably because there's like a lot more social aspect to VR too.
Is there?
But that's what I've seen. Like a lot of the people that I've seen playing. I also watched somebody do a VR of the Five Nights at Freddy VR, and
Oh, that
that
doesn't
looked
sound fun.
scaring as that seemed very scary.
But at the same time, that's a game that lends itself to virtual reality.
Why?
Well, because it's not like my thing with VR, purely as a spectator, as someone who's never tried it before, is that my concern is moving in a VR space. Um,
Why is that your concern?
well, like walking, like I think that that's part of the issue with like motion sickness and stuff is that you're sitting there with this thing that's meant to simulate what you're doing, and at the same time you're physically not walking, but you're controlling it with a controller, which is what can cause the motion sickness.
Mhm. I thought the
So
biggest thing with the motion sickness that people had was from not maybe like putting it in the not having their settings in the correct place.
well, I think it's that, but also I think it's like if you're stuck with motion sickness, if you're from reading and driving, or like I went,
Is that a
um,
thing that you have?
oh yeah,
Oh,
if I read for a long period of time while I'm, well, not while driving, like if I'm in the car with someone who's driving and I'm reading in the passenger seat, if I do it for more than like 45 minutes, I get sick.
you're in the passenger seat reading? That's rude.
What the fuck else am I gonna do? Like
If you're in
if
the
my
back seat and you're reading, that's normal. But if you're in the passenger seat, that's weird. You should
oh
be
please.
talking to the driver.
Oh, please. My brother's not exactly a conversationalist that, it's a, he's not exactly a conversationalist. I'm gonna sit here and make conversation with him like, so, what did you do this week?
Yeah, you
Um,
should. You should ask him that. And then,
I
like,
know the answer.
typical brother things where you're like, so do you have a girlfriend? Who have
I
you been seeing? And like
you,
that kind of thing.
you realize I live with this man, right?
Yeah, but whatever. You probably don't really talk to him.
I try to avoid it if
That's what
possible.
happens.
Um, but either way, like that's my grandmother has it too, has that issue where it's like if she's in a car, she gets motion sickness in cars while driving. And I think that part of it is it's you're visually there's motion around you, and your body's not feeling it, which causes motion sickness. Um, that's an actual thing. That's not me making that up. Um, so like that was one of the things is that, and then for me, it would just feel like an immersion breaker to be wearing the headset and be doing something and then having to walk using a controller. Like that's kind of where it is for me, where it's like I feel weird. So like
But you haven't tried
PSVR,
it yet.
I haven't no, but PSVR 2, I've heard because it hasn't come out yet, but they're releasing Gran Turismo 7 on the PSVR 2. Gran Turismo being the racing game that I'm sure you've heard of at some point in the past. Um,
I can't see wanting to do a racing game in VR.
when I that was my thought until I heard someone talk about what it is and how it works. I was like, that could be pretty cool actually, because what it is it's like you're sitting in a car, like you see it from the perspective of the driver's seat, so you're looking in the car and you're as you're driving. I don't think I'm selling you quite on this yet. You look confused.
I'm not confused, but it's just what a boring thing to want to do in VR. If
Well, it's
I wanted to
racing. It's
go
not.
racing, I'd just go into my car and do it.
I mean, some of us have a beat up like Ford that isn't exactly built for racing.
Well, I
Not.
mean, mine's not built for racing either. I have a Prius. I don't know, but I just feel like that's something that I don't know, like that's not a very
Inventive.
fun thing to do or an inventive thing to do. Why wouldn't you do that's something that pretty much anybody could do?
Well, like the thing is too, it's like when I watch the other thing that the only game that I really ever saw with VR that maybe really grabbed me was Beat Saber. I think is the game where it's like you have to swing your arms and hit the things that are going by you. You've probably seen it in the
Okay.
commercial. It's the one in the commercial for
Yes,
MetaQuest.
yes, I have seen.
Which is like, all right, that could be cool, but it's like I think the issue with VR, and I think the PSVR 2 is kind of going to fizzle out the way the Vita did.
Hmm.
Um, I think the issue with VR is that there's no mainstream attachment appeal in the same way that like a game console is also a DVD player. It also like there are games for everyone. Every market is kind of, hit. You don't have that with VR. Um, and it's like, think of it like this. Imagine this. You work at a nursing home.
No, I'm
I said,
kidding.
imagine.
I'm kidding. Go ahead.
What the fuck are you talking about? I don't work at a nursing home. So imagine you work in a nursing home and you are, and they had a VR headset that could do puzzles.
Why can't you? Why isn't that the thing that you can do in real life?
Because long term it'd be cheaper.
I think doing things that you physically can't do
And I was talking to Peter about it. The thing
would
is
be
too
more interesting.
with that he said there's a neurological benefit, and he's way smarter than I am.
Yeah,
Um,
he's
like
way smarter than the both of us. So
he's the brains of the operation here.
yeah, yeah.
So I mean, he's got a doctorate in neuropsychology at this point. So like, he said there's a great neurological benefit that could happen with that kind of thing. And I'm paraphrasing from a text message from 3 weeks ago, but he he said that that would be something that would be useful in that kind of situation where it's like you could use it for like motor control and stuff like that. Um, and it could have benefit there. And I was thinking like, if I'm Sony and I want people to attach to the PSVR 2, hear me out on this pitch for a second. Um, I pull all of our movies from every other streaming service,
Mm-hmm.
and we do our own streaming service because no one's doing that now. No other company has their own streaming service just for their own movies, so we'll be on the cutting edge of that. Um, but what we do is we make it exclusive to the VR because
Okay.
what you can do with VR that you can't do elsewhere is you can give a full theatrical experience.
So now you're just sitting in a theater?
Yes, you can do that with a VR headset because of how close the
I
screen is and all of that. You can create the experience, and with the way the they have
Isn't that kind of mundane?
well, no, but it's like the thing is, it's like if you want to make it where you're gonna give me something that's I think mundane is the point. I think mundane is kind of what you need to do because I think the issue is now we're gonna hit a point where VR doesn't have mainstream attachment, so you just have a dwindling market. Because what's gonna end up happening is like take the PSVR 2 to the PSVR 1. No PSVR 1 game is compatible with PSVR 2 because it uses an entirely different system for eye tracking and stuff like that. So because it's so different, you have to completely port the games, and the developers are stuck with, well, do we just make a new game entirely, or do we create a port of the old game using this new technology and then offer it for free, or do we port it and just not offer for free at all? And what do we do about games that are now locked onto the old console? And then the consumer has to worry about like, well, if I'm going to drop $500 on this new thing, what am I going to be able to play on it? And I think that that's part of the issue that we're kind of hitting here with virtual reality is that if you're not someone who is super into it, you have no incentive to try it out. Um, and there's no cheap consumer model to make it where it's like, this is something that I'm going to give it a shot once to see what it's like and see how that plays. And I think something like creating that kind of, bringing that to it, like what can we do with VR that sets us apart from other things? It's like, well, we're going to have a screening room where it's like we have like there already is spatial audio built into it because of the fact that it is virtual reality. And if you're going to try and simulate reality, you need to have spatial audio to simulate distance.
What a
And
lonely thing, though.
well, I'm not saying it sounds lonely, and it sounds a lot worse than it. I think it's something that like if you're trying to attach people to it, and I think that's the key thing is, you can sit here and you can make the games they're making for virtual reality, but without people to buy them, it's not going to do anything. There's going to be no incentive for new developers to get into it. If there's no money there, like I think that's the big issue we have
Why
now is
wouldn't there be money there?
because it's such a limited market. And each iteration is just
I mean,
reducing the market.
currently it's a limited market, but I think that I mean that is the direction things are headed.
Well,
It's
what do you
just
think?
accessibility.
Here's the question I have. What do you think would need to be offered in virtual reality to make you go out and buy a VR headset tomorrow? What would
I
a
don't have
VR headset have to offer you or what VR
a cheaper price, period. That's it.
that's the only thing that's keeping you from buying it is the price point?
Yes.
Hmm.
Yes, I would buy one in a heartbeat if
What
I
ga-
could.
but what game would you buy for it?
I have no clue, but I'm gonna figure it out when I get it. Gosh, I
Um,
would I would do all the things with it. I don't know. I'd figure it out. There's some really cool things on there. Like there's ones where people like fight and I don't know. Like even just like playing around in a world that I couldn't normally do. Or, literally just climbing a freaking mountain thing or face that I couldn't do in real life, you know?
the other thing is too, it's like I think the other issue is we don't have exclusives for VR in the same way that we do for like I think that like if I'm Sony, I would be leveraging some of my exclusives, especially on PSVR too, if they're trying to make that work. Like they have a pretty solid deal with Disney for Star Wars stuff at this point, Sony. Um, because like if you recall, Knights of the Old Republic was a Xbox exclusive, but now it's going timed exclusive on PlayStation. Um, and with all that kind of stuff, I would see, can we develop a Star Wars game for virtual reality? Can we, because they did Vader Immortal, but can we do something that uses the technology now a little bit better?
There is.
Um,
There's a few Star Wars games out.
well, there's Squadrons, which is a dogfighting game. Um,
Oh my goodness. There's Fallout 4. I'd buy it just for that.
the Fallout 4 has a VR mode.
Yes.
No
That's what I'm
Man's
looking at.
No Man's Sky has a VR mode that I think I accidentally turned on my computer because everything is kind of in
That's
duplicate in the
funny.
sky. It's meant for 3D viewing, and I'm like, I think I fucked something up somewhere in the settings,
Yeah.
but I guess never fixed it. But I know No
I
Man's
would
Sky has
love
that.
to be able to play Fallout 4 in VR. That would be amazing. Oh my goodness.
Um, but it's like I would do that, like Spider-Man in VR. How much
There's
fun would did you
I've seen
play
I've seen quite a few people play Super Hot, and that
Super?
looks really
Oh, okay, I
cool.
know what that game is. Did you
Um,
see anything for Spider-Man PS4?
no.
When you get a chance, go on YouTube and watch just someone swinging through New York in Spider-Man PS4 and tell me that in virtual reality wouldn't be the sickest fucking thing.
I'm sure that would be. I'm sure
Or
that would
like
be awesome.
Arkham Asylum to
It's
VR.
literally just taking any game that we have out right now that you enjoy and then putting it into VR. Yes. I mean, there's a Doom VR.
Doom? Well, that's right. It's a
Yes.
first-person shooter.
That would be amazing.
Now, are they doing it in the traditional graphics or is it an updated graphics?
I don't know. I just
Either
Googled to
way,
see what games were out there. It'd be cool in both though.
yeah.
It's probably
Um,
with the updated graphics.
yeah, it'd be a little bit jarring to be in a pixely world in
Yes.
virtual reality. What was the other one that was that there was one other game that I was like, this would be really
There's
cool in VR.
Subnautica, and I've seen
Yes.
people play that in VR, and that looks really cool. And things can scare you and stuff.
This is gonna sound dumb, but Flower in VR.
Flower?
You never heard of the game Flower? Peter made
No.
fun of me for playing this game. Yeah, let me spell Flower.
Flower VR.
I don't think it's in VR, but PS3.
Flower PS3. That's what you want me to look at
Yeah,
because
yeah. You can look up a gameplay of that. It's such a beautiful game. You play as like the wind, and you gotta fly these petals
Aw,
around. Like
that's
that
so
would
cute. That looks very um
calming.
yeah.
It's a nice little Zen game. And
Like
Peter mocked me for that for months.
yeah. Did you do it drunk or high or
No, sober.
okay. Well, if it makes you happy.
It was free on PS Plus for the month. So I was like, all right, let me get it.
It looks
Um,
cute. It looks very pretty.
there were a few games that I've only ever played because they were free, and I was like, that was a good use of time. Like the Turing Test I played for free. Um, on Game Pass. Race the Sun was another one that was kind of fun.
Gosh, I'd even play Tetris in VR.
How would that work?
Just grab the block and throw it down.
You
That'd be
you
so
play as a
cool.
block?
No, no, no. You're standing there, but you're standing there in front of a life-size version of Tetris,
Oh, that'd
and
be
you get to
cool.
like grab the block and push it down.
What about arcade? Like a VR arcade? See, and that's the thing too. It's like if I'm Sony and I'm doing PSVR 2, I would
You're
do like
thinking far too mundane.
I
Again,
think
you're
you have
building
to.
worlds that you have to walk up into.
I think you
That
have
would
to
be
think
cool.
mundane. Like I think like
Why?
a trophy room kind. Well, because the thing is, it's like you can sit here and you can be like, oh well, here's like I think Doom in VR is cool for people like us who play video games,
So
but
you're talking about the less
the less
into it
hardcore
crowd?
fan. Yeah,
Okay.
because that's what you need to get into it. You like that's like the thing that
So
brought video games back after the
there is a
crash in the 70s was Nintendo making it mainstream.
there is a game out that I've watched a few folks play who really have an issue with the VR headsets giving them motion sickness.
Mhm.
And it's where like the folks they'll sit around a table with each other and then they'll go in the VR game and then they play Russian roulette.
Okay.
I think it looks cool. Like
Um, see,
that's not something you could do
you
IRL.
well, you
Like
could once. You mocked me for playing Flower because you're like, oh, that looks dumb. But it's like, here, oh look, you can play Russian roulette.
yeah, you can't play that in real life.
See, but look, what I'm looking at is I'm thinking back to the crash around the time. What was it the 70s or the 80s was the crash with Atari where they buried all the ETs out in the desert.
Mm-hmm.
Looking back at that, what brought the industry back was Nintendo making the NES and making that a console that was big for mainstream families and audiences like that. I think that up until that point, you had
Russian roulette with grandma.
well, the thing is too, it's like when you look at like where VR is now, it's kind of where the industry was up until that point, where you had a bunch of companies making VR headsets because you got Sony has theirs,
I know Steam has one, and that's supposed to be like one of the best like
Steam has one,
options out there.
Meta has one, the Meta Quest,
Uh-huh.
and Oculus. So you have and Apple is making one. So you have a bunch of companies making VR headsets. You have a large amount of developers who are putting in time and effort into making games to try and capitalize on that space, but the audience is not quite big enough where everyone's gonna make a ton of money. So as we get into, and we are in a little bit of a tech recession right now, we're going to start seeing things fall by the wayside. What you need to do is you need to create something that's going to get the mainstream appeal. That's what needs to happen. Is that
And you
and
think something so mundane as an arcade room would
I think
be
so.
the way to get their attention. Now I could see doing virtual. Now just go into virtual Wii games where you're,
There you go.
now you're doing bowling. There you
Yeah,
go. Everybody would
you
love that.
you
Now
think
you're
that
playing darts, virtual reality.
you think that
Yeah.
if Nintendo said, okay, we're doing Switch 2, it's virtual reality, and it's gonna be
Yes.
$500, you think that wouldn't make all of a sudden virtual reality mainstream?
No, I think that totally would. Switch games and like not Switch, but like the Wii games and stuff where you're doing Wii Sports and now it's virtual reality. Um, people would love that.
Oh yeah, I would love that. Like, and I don't like. See, and that's
And
the
you
thing
got to
too is like
market
I
it
was
towards like
families.
and then you go ahead and you say, "Okay, well now we've got this workout version and stuff and now you're
See, and that's
yeah.
the thing too, is you have like, okay, now you have to increase the install base. And then once you have the install base, you can work on the attachment rate. Right now, the install base is low, so the attachment rate is going to inherently be lower than that. So you have to expand the base. I think that's part of the problem we have with the companies being what they are right now. Um, but yeah, if the Switch 2 was entirely virtual reality, I would 100% be on board with that.
Why would you want the Switch to be virtual reality? What's on there that you couldn't?
Well, because I think that Nintendo has an eye for that kind of thing. Because like even the
But
Wii
the
U, for
Switch
the
doesn't
Wii
even
U's,
have like any.
well,
So what are
I'm
you
just
saying?
saying, I'm
Are
just
you
saying
saying
Switch
like
2 as the
Mario?
I'm just saying Switch 2 as the follow-up to the Switch, whatever the follow-up
Oh,
to the Switch
okay,
is
but
gonna be.
not like Switch games.
No, not specifically games
Okay.
on the Switch. I mean like whatever Nintendo's next console is gonna be, Switch Pro, Switch 2, whatever it is. If it's like it's gonna be a Switch, but there's also gonna be a VR component,
Mm-hmm.
like or whatever they do, there's a VR component for their next console. I would 100% be on board with that. I guess I said
Okay.
Switch 2 because that's just I think what everyone's just calling it now because I think they're working on the next gen console.
Sorry, I just didn't understand
No,
what
I
types of
wasn't clear.
games you were. Um, I could see that. I would totally, I'd be into that. And I could see doing that with families and stuff and,
Yeah,
getting up and playing and doing bowling or, I could even see doing virtual reality, Mario Kart. That could be
that'd
fun.
be cool. Virtual reality Gran Turismo wasn't cool, but virtual reality Mario Kart.
Yes.
Um, I'll leave you with three words. And that will be the end of this conversation. Um, Virtual reality Pokemon. Again, audio podcast.
You said the conversation was over.
Well, no, you can still input
No,
something.
no, that was a very clear don't say anything.
Oh, okay. Well, you can
Yeah, that'd
say
be
like
really, really cool.
because like all that stuff they did in X and Y with the petting and all of that plus the catching from like Let's Go.
That'd be really
That's
cool.
a mechanic that would
I mean,
translate
they're
very
already
well.
trying to do that with like the Pokemon Go game and
Yeah.
stuff, but to like be in that world and stuff, that would be
Did you play
freaking
Let's Go
amazing.
Pikachu or Eevee?
Mm,
That was the one that was I think that was the first Pokemon game to get ported to the Switch. That was it was Red and Blue.
no, I played Shield,
Okay.
and
Um,
I think that's the only Pokemon game I've ever played other than Go.
Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee is just Red and Blue, but you don't battle wild Pokemon, you catch them like Go.
Oh, okay,
And you use motion controls to catch them.
that's pretty cool.
So I'm like that in virtual reality set it in Johto, Nintendo. I'm available. Um, you can contact me through multipleworldproductions.com. You can have that one for free. Um, but let's move on to the topic of conversation for the day. Josie has finally seen Black Panther Wakanda Forever now that it is on Disney Plus.
For free.
Well, for your subscription price.
Yeah, yeah. I don't pay for
Um,
my subscription, so it's
oh,
free for me.
um, so now before we dive too deep into it, can you give a number 1 to 10 for Wakanda Forever? How would you rank it? 1 to 10.
That
Is
was
she
pretty
currently
damn good.
choking to death on yogurt?
What?
Oh,
I'm
okay. Because
thinking. I'm not allowed to think.
no, because I didn't have Zoom up, and last I saw is you picked up the yogurt again, and I'm like, did she drink it and just die?
Yeah. Um, I'd call it a solid like 8, 8.5, maybe even a 9. I really liked it.
Okay, so I put in your 8. We'll count it as an 8, and I
Okay.
put it there because I wanted to
Why
update
do
our
I have to give it
rankings
at the beginning?
because I wanted to update our rankings for Phase 4 because you didn't
But what
see
if
it.
what if by the end of the time we're done talking, I
Okay,
change my mind?
okay, we'll do it. We'll do it that way then. We'll put it in at the end. Okay, Jesus Christ. I'm sorry, I fucking asked.
You should be. Anyway.
Um, so yeah, I was I was concerned watching it because I watched it once in theaters and the length deterred me from going back to a theater to watch it. Because it is long. It's an hour 2 hours and 40 minutes. And that was the thing that kept me from going back to see it again. Because I'm like, I don't know if I want to spend another 3 hours in a movie theater. After seeing Babylon, after seeing Avatar, I was like, fuck it, let me just wait for it to go to Disney Plus and I'll watch it at home.
When's
Um,
Avatar gonna be free?
oh, they're gonna hold out on that for a long ass time.
Okay. I really want to go see that one in theaters, but I just have not made it over there. Every time I try to have like a weekend day, something happens with work and I can't. So,
At this point, I would just wait to see Quantum. I would see Quantumania first, the new Ant-Man movie.
oh, I don't want to see that.
You
So
have
I'm good.
no interest. How do you have no interest in seeing that?
I didn't see Ant-Man and Wasp either.
Oh, okay, all right. Um, yeah, this is. I am looking forward to that movie to an unhealthy degree.
Sounds
Because
like it.
I think Scott is gonna get fucked up in that movie.
Okay.
So it's gonna be awesome to get see Ant-Man get his ass kicked up and down a movie. Um, because you can't. Here's the thing, is and this is not what we're here to talk about, but he can't lose to Kang because Kang is the bad guy in the next Avengers movie. He can't beat Kang. Because if Ant-Man beats Kang,
Hmm.
then what risk is there? What threat is there for the next Avengers movie?
Yeah, that's true.
Because like if he can lose to Ant-Man, then who gives a shit? So he got to win. So Scott's gonna get fucked up in this movie. Anyway, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. Um, I really enjoyed it in theaters, and I was concerned about watching it at home. I was afraid that it would kind of drag.
How
Um,
many times did you cry?
the end got me.
Really? I cried like three different times.
The end where it's just the silent, her at the beach.
I'm
With the
curious how the actor's family felt about the tribute to um the Black Panther in it. And if they, how they felt about it. And if they felt it was done nicely or not.
I would assume
Because
so.
it
I would
did
assume
feel
Ryan
like it was
Coogler
a
was in.
tribute not only to the character but to the actor.
I think that was the thing. I think Ryan Coogler was in conversation with Chadwick Boseman's wife and what's it called? And his family through because they were friends too. Um, Not just, director and actor, they were friends too. So I
Hmm.
think they were in conversation. Again, this could just be making shit up entirely, but I don't think it's a bad thing to make up if I am. I would assume they had to have worked with the family.
I would hope so. And
Um,
I hope that they liked it, and I because it was very much like I would just like to know, since they threw it out there so much, if it was going against their wishes or not.
I seem to
Um
recall the wife was at the premiere.
okay.
So I would
Just
assume
be
she had something to do with it.
okay, just because just flaunting something like that out there and putting it out there so publicly, even after the fact when you're trying to heal, can be, if it's against their wishes, it's a really shitty move.
Right.
um
I
but
think
if
the
it's
bad
not,
move
then
was
it's great.
whoever went into Chadwick Boseman's Twitter account and posted the trailer.
Okay.
That was the shittier move, I think, because it's like, come on, like, really?
Why?
Like,
I didn't see that.
was
That's
he
a not a
dead?
ski. Oh, I forgot that was his name. I'm an
Yeah.
asshole, but whatever.
And
I
it's
don't
like
know
Stan Lee
any.
still tweets out from premieres of Marvel movies. He's been dead for like 5 years.
Okay.
That's like, I don't think this is necessarily the optic you want here. That said, I heard something interesting because Marvel and Stan Lee's estate signed a deal for him to come back and do more cameos from Beyond the Grave using CG composite and
Oh,
AI.
really?
And
He signed something?
his family and his estate did. And it's
Oh,
like I saw someone go like, "Well, I don't know if that's right because it's not necessarily his wishes." And then someone goes, "I don't know. I think we have like 60 years of Stan Lee talking publicly. I think if there's any person on the planet who's okay with this, it's definitely Stan Lee."
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I did really enjoy this movie.
I
And
guess
not
that's not a
just
person who's like overly private either.
right. I loved the everything with Namor was so great. Um, like not just the Chadwick Boseman stuff, which is all very well handled, and I think that they made the best of a bad situation. Um, because I like this is a conversation we had at work. Like a lot of people are like, well,
I
why don't they just
loved that it was a
recast?
goodbye to both.
See, because that's the thing is like, do you recast? And it's like I don't think you
You cannot
like.
not
Well,
with
here's the
not and
thing.
still show respect.
Here's the
Like
thing.
you almost have to say that that character is gone forever now.
Here's my question though. Man of Steel comes out in 2013.
Mm-hmm.
2014. Henry Cavill dies.
Okay.
Do they recast Superman? Or does DC just go, Superman is dead, that's it?
No, I mean they've had so many other people playing Superman in the
I
past.
think that's the difference too. It's like there's a reason why they didn't recast um Paul Walker in Fast and the Furious. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think this is going to be the true end of T'Challa. I think T'Challa will come back at some point. It's just this movie, you couldn't do it.
You think to I think that's why they brought up the fact that there's a son now,
Right. And
and they're
full
gonna have
spoilers for
things
anyone who
being
hasn't and full spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen the movie yet. It is on Disney Plus, but we are going to spoil the movie.
sorry.
No, no, no. We're allowed to spoil it, but I just like to put that disclaimer in there.
Okay,
Um,
after the fact.
well, whatever. At
Well, I
this
mean,
point, they know.
that's why they show the son, so they'll just, fast forward it like 15 something years, and now the kid will be 20 years old, and
I think the Kang Dynasty is the perfect opportunity for that because
okay.
you have a villain whose entire thing is he fucks with time and he fucks with reality.
Hmm, okay.
So you can just boom, he's 20 and now he's T'Challa again. Now we have a new actor. Problem solved.
Yeah,
Like,
but he's T'Challa Jr.
yeah. Did you catch that
It's kind of like saying
Shuri's
that he could never be replaced.
right,
It's not just a recasting to replace. There's a storyline, there's a reason,
right.
there's a respect made to that individual who did such an amazing role
Because to an
in
extent
that.
he originated the role. Because like
Yes.
the way we see T'Challa, it's like yes, it's influenced by the comics, but like the T'Challa as he's portrayed in the movies is very
He
much
will be the
Chadwick
only
Boseman's
one.
designed.
Yeah. He
Um,
will be the only one to be able to do it in that way.
yeah. And I think that was, and that's the thing too. It's like when you look at his career, I think that years from now we're gonna look back on Chadwick Boseman the way we look at James Dean, who had a very short career before he passed, but during his time he had such a large amount of iconic roles. Like before he died, not just T'Challa, he played Thurgood Marshall, he played Jackie Robinson, he played James Brown. Like he had such a wide range of ability. Like I think it's probably the worst loss for acting in recent history
Hmm.
because
Yeah.
of just the range that he had as an actor beyond just oh well he could play superheroes. It's like no, he had other things too that, he did beyond that. Um he was nominated for multiple Academy Awards for his ability. And not for T'Challa. Um but for the rest of the movie, like the movie is very much about that, but at the same time not. Because like it is still within the context of the Marvel universe and it is still trying to move forward. And I think that if I have two complaints in this movie, and you know me, I will always find something to bitch about. Um, if I have two complaints, number one, all the stuff with Val can be completely omitted with no impact on the plot.
Val being the young scientist girl, right?
No, well, no, that's my other issue, but Val is Elaine from Seinfeld, Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Oh, yeah.
Like she
I
has
maybe
probably
she's
my
like
favorite line in the movie, but
maybe she's something that's going to come up soon.
oh, 100%.
Like, and it was just
Her entire purpose in this movie is to set up Thunderbolts. That's why she's
okay.
there. Um, and it's like she has my favorite line in the movie when it's like she's talking to Everett Ross in his
Mm-hmm.
house, and he's like, "Could you imagine what it would be like if the United States was sitting on the entire world's vibranium supply?" And she goes, "I have literally dreamt about that." Like, because it is, we had no idea who this character was for most of Phase 4, and
Mm-hmm.
for like that one line entirely sums up everything we need to know about this character going forward.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
and I think that that's such a, and because the thing is, from the comics, we know she's Madam Hydra.
Oh.
Um, so that's it. We have a lot
I'm
of
just
things
saying
coming.
she's a government official that has a purple strand in her hair, and that would not be allowed.
Really?
Yeah, that's my like character flaw for her. Like I was not into it, and I was like, that's unrealistic and stupid. No
Well, she's head
way.
of the CIA. I think you can get away with more if you're head of the
No,
CIA. Really?
no, absolutely not.
Well, also she's also the bad guy, so it's okay.
I'm just saying, no, that wouldn't happen. She'd be fired. She wouldn't be allowed in the public eye. She'd be allowed to have purple hair if maybe she was working in a lab somewhere where nobody ever saw her and she never got to see the light of day. But no, absolutely not.
I think she's great in the movie, though. I think that I still like. I think she's great, but I think uh, she's completely not needed for
I
the
think
movie.
they could have done something funny where the streak was white like Rogue, and then maybe she gets doused in purple juice or something. There you go. There's her purple streak. Now get
I
out of
think
here with
I
that nonsense that
I
they'd
think it's
let
a lot
a
of extra work.
high
I think
ranking
you're the
government
only
official have
person
a
on the planet.
purple.
I think you're the
streak in
only
her
person on the
hair.
planet who has that problem with like
No
that's
way.
the problem with this movie.
All the other government folks are thinking the same thing. 100%. They saw it and they said, that's unrealistic. That's fucking stupid. No way they'd let her do
Yeah,
that.
that's the unrealistic part where we're introduced to her after people are abducted by mer people who
Yeah.
take them under to an underwater civilization that's hidden. The
It
unrealistic
totally
part.
threw me out of the entire, like, I got angry about it. I was like, no way. No, it did. It threw me totally out of my whole like zone in watching the movie.
It didn't get me that much only because it's like she's not gonna be the good guy. Like she's not meant to be a straight-laced government agent. She's working for something higher. That there's something more to what she's doing.
That doesn't
Like
give her the ability to go around and change appearance
no, but it allows me to
things that
suspend
are
my
laid down by her
disbelief.
HR.
No, but it allows me to suspend my disbelief about it a little bit.
No, not for
Um,
me. It pulled me right out of it.
and the other issue I had was Ironheart's completely wasted in this movie. It's another thing that's there to set up her TV show that's coming, but nothing
Who's
else.
Ironheart? Which one was ended up being
She's
Ironheart?
the scientist girl.
The scientist girl. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Riri
Okay.
Williams. Um,
I thought there was a lot of neat like Iron Man suits.
oh yeah, because her whole thing is that she is, she builds suits like Iron Man. That's her thing, and it's like I would have liked a little like the thing is I would have rather done without all of the Val stuff. As much as I love the Val stuff, and as much as I love the way that character is kind of in her about 10 minutes of screen time has been completely fleshed out to now we know everything we need to know about this character going forward. As much as I loved all of that, I would have rather forgone all of that and been given the smallest amount of information about Riri Williams, besides the fact that she built a thing that can detect vibranium, and now the Talokans want to kill her. Like the smallest amount of information. Like the only indication that we get that she is inspired by Iron Man is when they're in her like garage, and Shuri looks up and she's like, "Oh, is that Stark Tech?" Like that's the only indication that we have any that she's in any way related to Iron Man. Like
Hmm.
the smallest
No,
amount of
because
information
there was also the like when the police officers come in to her
is that an
garage and
Iron
they go,
Man
she
suit.
has an Iron Man suit.
Like, and that was the thing too. I saw a review on IMDb, and it was so fucking ridiculous. It was like, come on, you expect me to believe that this girl built a working Iron Man suit? And I'm like, the plot of the first Iron Man is that he built an Iron Man suit out of scraps in the fucking desert. Like,
Yes.
yeah, if you can't suspend disbelief for this, I'm gonna lean towards you're probably racist.
Yeah.
Um, but I think that like I would have liked a little bit more development on her. And the other big issue I had, the costuming. The costuming is fucking atrocious in this movie. The Midnight Angels look terrible. Um,
Why?
the suits at the end that Okoye and the other girl are wearing, the blue
I thought they
ones,
looked so cool.
I hate those, and I hated the Ironheart armor at
I
the end of
did
the
think that
movie.
her eyeballs on that thing
They're
looked
too
different,
high. They're
but
like too high up here.
I think it's hilarious that at the beginning of it, um, she uh she goes, I swear that thing gets uglier and uglier every time I see it.
Yeah, and she's not wrong. It's just it is ugly. Like it's not a good suit design. And
Yeah.
the Ironheart armor I didn't like either.
Hmm.
The
I thought the costume design was nice. I mean, like there was a lot of it in the scenes in the cities, in both cities, and I thought that they did a pretty decent job. The one thing that I couldn't get over was, okay, they just got out of the water. Why are they dry?
see that and the thing is too, it's like
Or why does their outfit look dry in the water?
when Namor comes out of the water the first time when we're introduced to him on the beach, and he
Mm-hmm.
comes out and he goes like this to get the hair out of his eyes. I'm like, that's a neat touch because you never see that in a movie where it's like, oh yeah, he was in water and he's got to adjust his hair out of his face, and like he's got water dripping down his face, so he's going like this a little bit
Mm-hmm.
to like clear his
But
vision.
then every other time
Yeah,
that
exactly, and it's like
he
they
comes out of
never
the
do it
water,
again, and I'm like, what the
yes,
fuck?
they're all dry as a bone.
Like that scene with the introduction of Namor That scene is easily a top five scene for Marvel, I think.
Hmm.
Like his
I thought
introduction
some of
there.
the cool the fight scenes were neat. I thought they did a lot of foot porn shots.
What?
They shot his feet a lot.
Oh, because you got those weird wing things.
I know, but like a lot. Like a lot
Um,
more than probably necessary.
I didn't
And
notice
from
that.
angles that were definitely not for your average viewer.
I didn't notice that.
I was like, damn, we're seeing this guy's weird ass feet a lot. I don't
Didn't
like
notice that.
feet, and that's the reason that I noticed it
Ah,
a lot. Is feet gross me out. So I
that'll
was
do
like,
it.
oh, there they are again. Thanks for that.
Yeah,
So
didn't
I
notice
noticed
that.
it a lot.
Um, what was it? I forgot what I was gonna say. I
Watch it
think
again
that
and then see how many times they close
yeah,
in
I'm
on
gonna
his
sit there.
feet.
I'm gonna sit through a 2 hour and 40 minute movie just to count the number of times that we zoom in on his feet. No, I was more engrossed by the fact that like I have never seen this guy in anything before, and he is like carrying this movie on his back,
Yeah,
like
he was
Tina
really
Porta.
good.
He is great. I hope he comes back soon. I like, and I think that's the thing too, is the way the movie ends, where it's like the movie is entirely set up where it's like Thunderbolts is going to be a sequel to Black Widow and also Black Panther Wakanda Forever,
I also
where
don't
it's
think that the her struggle with like, okay, now she's gone and she's seen Killmonger, that was not as prominent or important as it maybe could have been.
see that was the thing is it feels like they were trying to mirror T'Challa's arc the first time we
Mm-hmm.
see him in Civil War. That's what it felt like to me, where it's like his whole thing is that he's chasing down Bucky because he wants revenge, and then he finds out it's not Bucky, it's Zemo. And then his resolution of his arc is he catches Zemo, and Zemo's like, "Well, mission accomplished, I did it." And he's about to put the gun in his mouth, and he puts his hand in the way, and he's like, "The living aren't done with you yet."
Mm-hmm.
Um, like it felt like that was her arc the same way, where it's like, look, she wants revenge, not on him specifically, well, no, on him specifically for killing Queen Ramonda, but like that's what she's going for. And then she has to make the realization at the end that like that is not what my mother would have wanted. That is not what the right thing to do is. So it is kind of mirroring T'Challa's arc in that way. I just think it's not as well done
I
because it's
agree.
entirely relegated to the second half of the movie. You don't get the entire movie to develop it.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Um,
There
and
was didn't seem like there was that much of a struggle.
no, and I think too what's it called? I think Angela Bassett is gonna win Best Supporting Actress. Um,
That's the young girl.
no, that is the mom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she got nominated for Best Supporting Actress this year. I think she's gonna win it. You know what I'm surprised this movie didn't get nominated for? The score. The score in this movie is fucking phenomenal. And
It really is.
I think it's Ludwig Göransson again. And this guy, he is I think the best of the young crop of composers who's working today. He did Mandalorian, he did Creed, and he's done both Black Panthers. And the way he created such different soundscapes for Talokan, and also for what's it called for Wakanda, it is so well done across the
Yeah.
entire movie. And I think that that's kind of the thing that they needed to like to nail. Um, and the way that it's just mixed through the entire movie is just perfect.
I did also think that it was a nice kind of break in the Marvel universe from what we've been seeing, where it's like bad guy defeated, bad guy defeated, bad guy
Yeah.
defeated, bad guy who's not really a bad guy. Oh, now we're friends.
See, and that's the thing. I think he's the most layered bad guy we've gotten. Like a lot of people like to say Thanos is a layered bad guy, and Loki's a layered bad guy. I think Namor is actually the most layered bad guy because
I agree.
he's not like if this is how Marvel is gonna handle Magneto when they inevitably get to the X-Men, I
Mm-hmm.
am totally on board with this. Where it's like he's not wrong. Nothing he did in this movie is wrong. He's just the bad guy because we, the viewer, at this point are aligning with Wakanda. But
Yeah.
nothing that he's doing is wrong or for bad reasons. He's just like, look, I gotta protect my own.
They did not explain why. they could get like stabbed in the heart and then come back alive. That was not explained.
I think it's kind of just heart-shaped herb. It's just kind of like a panacea for everything.
What?
Like they have the same kind of thing that the Wakandans had, where it's like the heart-shaped herb gives the Black Panther their power. They have the same thing.
So they all have it?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
That was what made them able to breathe on the water and all of that was the
Oh,
yeah.
okay. So they're superhuman and more than just like being able to be mer people.
Right, yeah. And I think the thing is too, is
Okay.
like Aquaman, like and again, this is DC, but Aquaman has strength comparable to Superman because living underwater that deep would tense up your muscles based on the pressure alone. From the water pressure being on top of you all the time. The gravity would be so much greater that when you get above water, you'd be stronger.
Yeah,
So I
the
think that's another
pressure.
part of it.
Yeah,
Um,
that makes sense.
yeah. So and I love the design. I think that
I love the idea that like they were like, yeah, he's like a jellyfish. I
I think
thought that
that
was so silly.
the single best comedic beat of the movie is she's like, "Can I go with you to see your home?" And he's like, "You can." The pressure is so immense that if you go down there, your body will be crushed under the weight. Your eyes will pop out of your head, and you will die a slow and painful death as you drown under the pressure of the water. Or you can wear a suit. We have one of those. Like it's such a
I
great
did think
like
that that was funny.
it's such a great comedic beat in the middle of this dramatic thing because it comes right after him telling his entire backstory,
Yes,
and then
and
it goes
it
to
was
that, and
like,
then he's
wow,
like,
maybe he is a bad guy.
and then it's like,
Oh,
or we have a suit. You can wear a suit. Let's go.
but it wasn't actually that funny. It was like a shocking funny.
Yeah.
Where like you're like, oh, is he a bad guy?
It's the kind of thing where it's like it's the moment of levity that gives you the idea that like, oh, this is just a guy. He's not just there to fuck up your day. Like he's just,
Hmm.
he's trying to do his thing for himself. He's a person like you, and it's like it's such a great thing where it's like unlike where it's like Loki uses comedy in a different way.
So, but he did like kill her mother, so that way she'd have to make the decision.
I think that, but the thing is, it's like, would he have killed her if they didn't go if Nakia didn't go in and kill what's her name?
Oh, what's her name?
Namora, I think her name was, or did Namora not die? Like that's the thing is that that fight only happens because he's like, look, we're just gonna keep you here for a little bit, and like we're gonna work out a deal with Wakanda, so that way we can figure out the situation because this is a problem, but
Hmm.
you know, just hang out here. And then Nakia goes in and rescues them, and it's like, look, they shouldn't have been kidnapping them. Nakia goes in and rescues them, but that's why he kills her.
Yeah, but I thought that was kind of a dick move.
Yeah, a little
But
bit. And
like,
the
and
thing is
shows
too,
him
it's
and
like,
builds his bad guy character, so he's not a good guy.
and the thing is too, in that scene, he's not trying to kill Ramonda. He's trying to kill Riri.
That's true.
Ramonda dies because she saves Riri's life.
Hmm.
Um, and again, would have liked for Riri to be more than an object in this movie. Like, Riri has as much development as the Tesseract has in the first
There was
Avengers movie.
there was a lot of characters going on. Like, and then I don't know why there was, especially with the introduction of all these new characters, then they chose to add in, because you've got the purple hair lady, then you've got the kiddo, the genius scientist kiddo person,
Who's
and
getting
then
her
you
own show.
have, huh?
She's getting her own show.
Yeah, and then you already have some more character development with um the Wakandan woman who is bald,
Oh,
the general.
Okoye.
Yes, and then you have another character introduction, so that way another person is given a suit, which is like her right hand man.
Michaela Coel. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know the
Yes, and
character's
like
name, but
that was
Michaela
like
Coel
another
from
introductory character introductory, the one that in the beginning had the two knives.
right.
I don't know. It just seemed like a lot of introductions, but not a whole lot of character development in the right places.
I feel like Winston Duke was underutilized in this movie too.
Who dat?
M'Baku.
Oh yeah, and then you have the white guy coming back.
I think Winston Duke was underutilized, which is a shame. Did you know he went to SUNY Buffalo?
Who is that?
M'Baku, the guy from the Mountain Tribe.
No, he did.
Yeah.
That's
Um,
cool.
he he and Aquafina went to Albany.
Oh,
But yeah, he's underutilized in the movie. He
Aquafina, that's the
from
I think
Shang-Chi,
hold on. I think I know who you're talking about, but I gotta look.
the girl from Shang-Chi, the friend.
I love her
Yeah,
in everything that she's in.
she
I
went to Albany
love her. She's also in Crazy Rich Asians,
and
and
Ocean's
I
8.
love that movie. And then Ocean's 8, yep. Then she was also the voice in the Last Dragon one.
Yes, Ryan the Last Dragon.
Yep. Um,
She's gonna be in the Renfield movie, which looks really funny.
I love Crazy Rich Asians, and I think Aquafina is the only reason that I watched Shang-Chi.
I think she graduated like 2 years before we would have started.
Oh.
But yeah, he has that great line when it's like they're up in the mountains and they're all hiding up there, and um he's talking about Namor, and they're all looking at him. He's like, "Yeah, we have books up here. What the fuck are you looking at?"
Mm-hmm.
Like he got like, and I think too. I think that the thing is, her finally becoming the Black Panther at the end of this movie it's the kind of thing where it's like you know it's coming. Because you know by the end of the movie she has to step up into her role as Queen of Wakanda. You know that's what this the story has to go there. But they still I think nailed it. Like the whole I love the scene of her talking to Killmonger.
Mm-hmm.
I love that whole thing. I loved and then her coming into the mountain tribe in the suit. Like when she takes the herb and she's like it didn't work, and then she punches the thing and it goes across the room, and it's like all right, it did work. And then her wearing the suit and coming in the suit, I'm like, I got chills when I saw that in the theater. I was like, this shouldn't work because you should know this is all coming, but
Mm-hmm.
it just works the entire way through. Um, and it's just the last fight I wasn't super thrilled about. Like the whole fight on the boat, I'm like, this is so dumb. Because it's like, why the
Yeah.
fuck are you fighting on a like? Why are you fighting on a boat? You're at an inherent disadvantage.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
it reminds me of like in Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire. It's like you got one guy who's like a whale who's like god of the ocean, and the other one is this like god of land, and he's standing on this little island in the middle of the ocean, and he's like, "You want to fucking go, bro? Like this is not a situation you're gonna win. Like this is a
Yeah.
bad idea."
That was a silly. Yeah, there wasn't a good enough reason behind that one.
I think you could have just had the fight between Shuri and Namor and omitted all of the big army stuff and it still would have worked.
Yeah.
Um and then Namor at the end kind of lays out where this is all going. And I like that too. Him being like, look, you know, one day the rest of the people are going to go to Wakanda to get their
See,
vibranium and then they're going to come to us for help.
I also don't think there was a good enough explanation that why where Namor shown himself to be absolute almost ruthless to to show up, see that his people were winning so intently or so intensely, like or so vast, and then go, everybody stop instead of look at what my people can do. We'll still fuck you up.
Well,
Like,
I think it is a self-preservation thing. I think that that's what that comes down to entirely is that it's like, look, we may be winning this, but I don't want to, I don't want to personally die.
mm-hmm,
I think that was part of it. But I think also part of it comes from, look, okay, we like Wakanda, he wants Wakanda as an ally, as the other power on the planet that has vibranium. Like
okay.
he wants them to be an ally. And them as an ally long term is a better situation than them as an enemy. So regardless of how the battle goes, um, he Shuri was getting out of there, even if the rest of the Wakandans didn't. And that's not a
Um,
situation you want to be at. So it's easier,
okay.
it's better for him to be like, look, let them think they won, but they're gonna need to come crawling to us because the rest of the planet doesn't know we exist, but they know the Wakandans exist. And there's gonna come a day where they want all that vibranium and they're not going to wait anymore for them to trade it. They're just going to come in and get it.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're going to come back to Tolokan to get help. And they're going to
Mm-hmm.
come there at a price. And that's kind of what it is.
I don't understand why the girl, the scientist girl was able to go back home.
See, that was an
Like now
issue
the
too.
government is now not looking for her. I don't understand.
I think she was able to go back home because this December on Disney Plus, there's the Ironheart show.
Oh, okay. So
Um,
not because of any
no,
plot reasons.
no,
Okay.
I think it's just she has her own TV show coming. So it's like because it's like here's the thing too. It's like okay, you can go back home, it's fine. Like, did Namor ever say like, all right, we're not gonna kill the girl? Like, I don't think that was ever explicitly laid out as part of the peace agreement.
No. And I
Like,
also don't think that, I mean, the feds are still looking for her.
that's true. And on what charge was the question I had? Because I watched it the second time and I was like, what did they do that they get that the feds are breathing down their necks now?
They were coming for her to have her make another thing, science project.
No, but they didn't send government officials. They sent the FBI and the Boston police.
Yeah, I don't know. It didn't make a lot
Like
of
they,
sense.
it's one of those things where it's like the movie's great
Don't
as a
break it down
whole.
too much.
Exactly, the movie's great as a whole, but once you start peeling apart certain things, it's kind of like The Dark Knight in that way, where it's like the
Yeah.
movie's great overall, but once you start looking at individual scenes and being like, now this doesn't make a ton of sense. Like the scene
Hmm.
in The Dark Knight where we're introduced to the Joker at the party with Senator Leahy and all of that.
Hmm.
Um, and it's like he throws Rachel out the window and Batman goes diving out after her. It
Hmm.
just cuts to the next scene, but like the Joker and his men were still holding that party hostage. How did that resolve itself?
Yeah, I don't know.
Um, but yeah, so I think that yeah, I think this is a very solid movie. I think that this is if it weren't for No Way Home, this would be the strongest of the Phase 4 movies. And I think that the real and here's a question I had because I saw a lot of people like debating this when the movie came out. How did you feel about there being no Avengers at the funeral? Because I go back and forth on that.
Did they say how he died?
Yeah, it was a disease, a
Oh,
disease that you didn't tell anyone about. So it's meant to be Chadwick Boseman, like
okay.
like, he had a disease he didn't tell anyone until it was too late, and then they tried to help and it was too late and he died.
Yeah, I don't know. You're right. I mean, but he was not really like friends with anybody.
I mean, the Wakandans are pretty fucking close with Bucky.
Oh, yeah, Bucky would be. Yeah, I don't know. But Bucky's dead now, right?
No,
Oh, I thought
um,
Bucky died.
no, he's alive and well. He's gonna be in he's gonna
I don't
be
know.
in
I forgot about
Thunderbolts.
everybody else.
Yeah. See, 'cause that's the thing too. It's like and the Wakandans made Sam his Captain America suit.
Oh, yeah.
So like, yeah, I think that there's like on the one hand, it would have been distracting. It takes away from the moment to be like, oh, and here's this guy. Oh, and here's this guy. Oh, and here's this guy. Like it takes away from it for it to become a series of cameos from other people that you know. On the
Right.
other hand, it's a little weird narratively for them to not be there because like, look, T'Challa
Well,
sacrificed
like
his
it's a
own people.
tribal family affair, I guess, maybe.
It seemed like the entire country was out for that.
Yeah. But like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Like, because I can see both sides of it, where it's like I definitely don't want because it's meant to be a send off for not just T'Challa but also for Chadwick. I don't want it to become this thing, and it's like we're making it about other people because it's like the minute you have anyone else there, it becomes like, oh, look who else was in that scene.
Hmm.
Um, but at the same time, it doesn't really make sense that they didn't do that.
I
Um,
agree.
so where would you rank this movie 1 to 10?
I'd still call it an eight.
Okay. So, are you ready for the updated ranking
For what?
for our phase 4?
Oh, sure, sure.
Because that's why I asked you that, is I wanted to re-rank it. So,
Okay.
Number one is still No Way Home. Number two is still Shang-Chi.
This is
Number
above Shang-Chi. I thought 8 like out of 10. Like I thought you were asking me is it
yeah,
8 out of 10.
yeah.
I didn't realize I was ranking it. It's above Shang-Chi. It's number 2.
No, no, no. I gave you eight out of 10.
I'm so confused.
Okay, so we'll put it above Shang-Chi. Okay, so we'll give it a 9 then. So we'll go above Shang-Chi.
Okay.
Okay, so then it's above Shang-Chi. Then Shang-Chi is number 3.
Yeah.
Then Loki's number 4, tied with
Yeah.
I Am Groot somehow. Um,
It's good.
so Josie needs to go, and I also
Mhm.
need to go. So we will wrap up there for today. On the calendar, with my cool calendar button, with my cool calendar button, with
That
my cool
nobody can see. It's just your calendar
There it
button.
is.
Gosh
Yeah.
darn it.
So this week we had Black Panther Wakanda Forever over on Beware of Spoilers today.
Are you wearing a Black Panther shirt?
I am, yes. That was not planned. Because I get dressed in the dark every day. Um, um, over on Beware of Spoilers, you can listen to my review of SpongeBob SquarePants: The Cosmic Shake, the new video game that is out. That is available today on Beware of Spoilers. Next week me and Josie will be back to do Ant-Man, the first Ant-Man, not Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Oh,
Do you not? You don't have to come on if you don't want to.
I don't really like the Ant-Man movie.
Okay, so you don't
But
you
I
don't
guess
have
maybe I will try.
okay. And then the week after that, if you want, I'm doing Akira the next week on the
Okay.
21st, and the week after that, Creed 2, if you want to come on for that.
Okay.
I have a feeling that I might be able to persuade Peter to come on for the Creed 2 one as well.
Okay.
Because me and him saw Creed in a theater and there was applause from two people who do not like to applaud in movie theaters.
Oh,
That movie was fantastic. Have you seen Creed?
no.
Oh my God. Watch Creed. It is. Do you like Rocky?
Yeah.
Okay, you will love Creed. Creed is fantastic.
Okay.
But on that note, we will wrap up there for today. So until our next episode, have a great rest of your week.
Thanks. You too. Bye.